Welcome to the Power of Owning Your Career podcast, the show for women who are seeking more fulfillment in life and simply not getting it from their current situation. We focus specifically on careers, but hey, we spend a lot of time in our careers, so making changes here will definitely create an impact in your overall happiness. I'm your host, Simone Morris, and my mission is to empower women to succeed. I believe that in order to powerfully own your career, you must decide and claim that you want to sit in the driver's seat. You must know that you deserve better and be willing to not only do the requisite work, but be willing to go out on a limb to ensure your success. Each episode focuses on profiling a leader who is clearly demonstrating ownership of their career. Join me and my guests as we explore career journeys and bring you actionable strategies to use to get into the driver's seat for your career. Because ultimately, your career is your responsibility. Let's get into the show. Hi there, it's Simone Morris. I want to come and talk to you today because it's the end of season 1 for the Power of Owning Your Career podcast. I'm super excited to have 17 episodes done and released into the universe. So proud of the work that has been done, the knowledge that has been shared, and really hoping to inspire the masses to really get into the driver's seat for their careers. I want to tell you why the power of owning your career is so important to me. Honestly, it's because I've been there. I've been in a position where I felt stalled. I felt disengaged, not motivated to move forward in my career. And I spent a great deal of time blaming others for that. Once I finally took responsibility and ownership, wait a minute, this is my life and I get to decide where I want to go with my career, things just really took off from there. And it was really making the decision that I get to choose where I want to go in my career. In the book, The Power of Owning Your Career, I talk about a boss telling me that my career is my responsibility, and it was sort of that ringing bell to say, yeah, actually it is. And it's not like I didn't know that, but something in the timing, in the messaging of that spoke to me, and it got me to take action. And which the action for me meant leaving corporate America and stepping out on faith and starting my own business. And, that was 4 years ago. So now I'm coaching, training, and speaking, and part of my core business is around empowering others to succeed in their careers, again, to be in the driver's seat. And the Power of Owning Your Career podcast is one of the ways in which I do that. For me, this has been an amazing first season. It went by super quick, and I have thoroughly enjoyed the interviews with each person because I get to learn on the job, so to speak, and I really enjoy learning, and I enjoy hearing the similarities of the different stories that are shared, and I enjoy hearing the different messages that come through. And I want my audience to get inspired from the guests that I bring on to the show. And you've been giving me feedback on what's working well, which I really do appreciate. So the data says to me that there are 3 top episodes that are being downloaded. And so if you haven't listened to the podcast as yet, this can be sort of a guideline, the best of, to really get in and get acclimated to the podcast. So the first episode, episode 16, which is with Shannon Malkin Daniels, entitled The Definition of Fearlessness. That episode is the top episode for season 1. And then we have episode 17 with Vicki Wright Hamilton. That one is Work Your Passion. Episode 13, Discover Your Lane of Brilliance with Cheryl Wood, is the 3rd top podcast. I am really pleased to hear that. I have enjoyed all 17 episodes, but really want to just give a shout out to those folks who something about their messaging is really inspiring to folks in their networks, etc., and they're downloading the content. So kudos, kudos, kudos. The top 3 countries for the podcast is, of course, the United States. No surprise there. I'm based in the United States. But Australia and Canada, you're listening in as well. And there's certainly other locations like France and Nigeria, etc., that's listening to the podcast. And that makes me super happy. It makes me happy that you're listening in Jamaica because I'm originally from Jamaica. So that makes me happy as well. I do want the podcast to continue to grow, and I have some amazing guests lined up for season 2. I've already started recording them, and so in the next week you will see the first release for season 2. And so I hope you will continue to listen to the podcast. I hope that you will share the podcast with your family and friends and network. And I hope you'll head over to wherever you listen to the podcast and put in a really good review to let this podcast be seen and heard and, continuing to have life. And that's what happens when there's support behind the podcast, support for what I'm doing. I appreciate you and I thank you for being a loyal listener to the podcast. And I hope you enjoy going back and listening to season 1 and know that season 2 is coming right up. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for being a listener and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for listening to the Power of Owning Your Career podcast. It is my hope that you enjoyed today's episode. You can check out the show notes for this episode on the SimoneMorrisEnterprises.org website by clicking the podcast menu. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and tell a friend or 2 about it.